Yo, a cheer for any other four, yes, she and anyway, Majo and Makwaba at the bar today, my show, Today Ghana News TV, Facebook. So, unfortunately, and there, Bibinti, your Facebook link, at here to Yankakra, the best stress among fan chain. To more, there be a more here, Facebook, the best stress among call your YouTube link, so, and it's Today Ghana News TV. There you can get us live over there. Stress and any day, it kind of join here. MyShow NDC Hour. The Today Ghana News TV so at the bro. At the bro Wednesdays via 9 o'clock. 19 hours GMT, and then 20 hours CET. Not weekly at the bro. I think the last week, majority of you wrote me and you were asking why we couldn't come on air last week. We had some technical hitches. That is why we couldn't make it last week. But of course, information from Hoba, shows that yes, MyShow NDC Hour atum. Na odo ene ahosepe ne ankweka e brene da mode etna se na donhwere ba ko ne fa da yanim yi. De nwedwe ne Ghana ho no. Today Ghana News TV yani so. We are streaming live today on YouTube, and of course, we are also live on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. And if you want to listen to us also audio, you can get us on Anchor FM, podcast on Anchor FM. Unfortunately, our live stream on Facebook has encountered some technical hitches. So we Facebook today. We are not live on Facebook today, but the engineers are trying their best to make sure they bring us back on Facebook Live as soon as possible. But for now, we are not on Facebook. We are only on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, and of course, the audio podcast on Anchor FM. And our comrades in Tamale or Tatale who are listening to us live on Sakina Information Center, we say kudos to you all and greetings. We greet you all and we appreciate your commitment to the Mother Ghana and of course the NDC. See, she say ya said that be American Ghana ye di Ghana puntuntini Asia. If Senye Ghana and Tia, I think that by now everybody would have been relaxing in his sofa or doing something to actually release the stress our come for the day. But of course, it's papa mama so no nye na numu dinte na mum ne yie di ntia. Se Ghana kuya e kuye ma nyina ne hweba bia na akufo ado ne Dr. Bawumia e de NDC e de Ghana akudru a na eye enhye eye responsibility e de ma NDC e de ma Ghana ni bia say ye for so ye di betumi na ye di 2 MPP aban every one more near the NDC ever, because NDC we have a track record. We have the track record. We are not there for only talks. Once upon a time, when I was at the uni, one of my doctors, because the talk is always cheap. Big kasa, talk is cheap. That is exactly what the MPP does. They talk too much and they do very little. No for be jananum, but we be jananum. And then we have a Ghana Kudru. Medin at the Alfred Kuyoli, the regular host of Today Ghana News TV. And next, we have a surprise package for you, our listeners and viewers. Today, I aren't here alone. I'm here with someone vibrant, someone who has also this passion, something is burning within his soul as far as the development of the nation is concerned. And he's a senior comrade. Without much ado, he is in the person of Dr. John Baptist Na. He is going to be my co-host. A little brief about Dr. Na. He is called Dr. John Baptist Na. Many call him Dr. J.B. Na. And he's currently a research associate at one of the universities here in Germany. Of course, he's based in Germany, and he's a research associate here in Germany. And of course, he had his Bachelor of Science degree in Ghana at KNUST. And there again, he did his national service as a teaching and a research assistant in his, of course, alma mater, which is KNUST in Ghana. There, he received that scholarship to come and do his Master of Science degree in Germany. And after his Master of Science, he went ahead to pursue his PhD degree as well as his postdoctorate degree here in Germany. He is currently the immediate past NDC German chapter vice secretary, and he's my co-host for today and of course this evening. Comrade, you are most welcome to my show NDC Hour.
Thank you, comrade, for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you as a co-host on today's on my show NDC Hour on Today Ghana News TV.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me say that we appreciate you for the good works you have been doing to host this show, and then informing us about things that are happening in Ghana. And really want to appreciate your efforts that you have put into this show. And I'm glad to be part in order to collaborate with you as a co-host on this show. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think viewers are also thankful for your dedication and time for this evening. We know that you have a lot of your schedule is so tight, but of course, for the love of the country, for the love of the NDC party, for the love of Ghanaians, for the love of our mother Ghana, you've made time out of your busy schedules to actually come here to support the show and then interact with our viewers and jaw to find out ways and means we can strategize to rescue our mother Ghana from this distraction. God bless you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, I understand you are not too good in tree. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is very correct. Yeah, that is very correct.
That means crack. But I learned you studied, you did your first degree at KNUST. What happened?
Exactly. Yeah, whilst I was there, my chi was really good. It was quite good. But after I graduated, I mean, I had no opportunity to practice my chi. So that has weakened my ability to speak.
Which hall were you at KNUST?
I was in Queen's Hall.
Kukumal.
Yes.
The Queen's people are listening right now. Say something to them in P. They are listening.
My understanding is very good. It's just the speaking, but I'm good. I'm good to
say
go.
Something small to them. The little tree you can to the Queen's hall resident, the residents in Queen's Hall.
Okay. Me person me share me nyina Queen's Hall. Why?
How romantic.
And your NDC Hour show. Your person me nyina mo ba watch here. So me nyina ya share me nyina.
Comrade, your tree is very romantic.
Oh, thank you.
This tree, you should have spoken this tree on the 14th February. That would have been cool.
Anyway, thank you.
Yeah. What do we have on our decks today? Within the next hour, what are we going to feed our viewers with?
Thank you, Comrade Alfred, for this wonderful question. Today is going to be one of the shows that we want to make it engaging, and we hope it is going to be very interesting. But before I talk about the topic, what we are going to talk about, I just want to take this opportunity to say good evening to all those who are watching us. Everywhere, here in Germany, outside Germany, and I want to extend our warm regards to them. And we are here to talk about NDC Hour, my show. And Today's topic is one of those topics that is regular, which we do know because we want to look at the general economic situation in Ghana. Things have not been well, although we are in the diaspora, we do have strong connections back in Ghana. The second thing we want to look at, apart from the general economic situation, which is not looking good, is this current decision that has been taken by the finance minister and, for that matter, the president, President Akufo-Addo, regarding the domestic debt exchange program.
Oh, okay.
And we will also want to look at other matters such as the NDC preparing to organize presidential and parliamentary primaries. And we also have at the corner the SIDO kind of ministerial reshuffle. In actual fact, it's not a reshuffle, it is just a kind of a SIDO one, a false kind of reshuffle, which we want to look at today. So today this evening, we want to look at the general economic situation, the domestic debt exchange program, commonly known as the DDEP, and the presidential parliamentary primaries, and also ministerial reshuffle, or something like that. That's all. Yes.
Tonight is power packed, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, then we don't have to waste much time since
exactly.
we have a lot on our bill.
Yes.
We'll go for a quick commercial break. When we come, then we introduce our guest for today. Our guest is also a surprise. So when we come back, we introduce our guest, then we hit the ground running. Viewers, let's go for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
President bio baba yini tiru ntwaba ma no.
Okay.
Because me many to fuma bu nkunta bi. Kwame Nkrumah bedi Ghana konwa na nwi woni tiru ho. Oya de fine. Akufo-Addo papa bedi president na nwi ni tiru ho wanya hwe. Atampo bedi ade nwi woni tiru ho. President feed yourself oya bibi. Leman ba oya bibi. Lawrence ba nwi woni tiru ho oya bibi. Kufo ba nwi woni tiru ho oya bibi. Atamas ba nwi woni tiru ho oya bibi. Dramama ba nwi woni tiru ho oye bibi akwawe bai enwi ni tiri ho saje ni tiri ho tia no sana na mamote
zero
woma wa form bu mani nyina nso enwi ni o tiri ho ba omia enwi ni tiri ho finance minister Oforiata enwi ni tiri ho Kwadwo Opan Nkrumah enwi ni tiri ho Kwakwaje Mamenu health minister enwi ni tiri ho KT Hammond enwi ni tiri ho Abujinapo lance minister enwi ni tiri ho Chairman Sabonsu Minister of Parliamentary Affairs enwi ni tiri ho Atachia, enwi ni tiri ho. Ono no fa se gabi o chire da kon so enwi ni tiri ho. Se jo mu tiri ho tia no. Sa no mama moti. Sakola government and Sakola performance.
Pa.
Na president be dia konwa na enwi ni tiri ho mo fo mu nyina so e coincidence ana.
There be.
E duabo ne ebom no bia tiri ho ya Sakola na say adwomone.
Ah.
It's a revelation anyway.
Yes.
What is on your
yes. Okay. Viewers, thank you very much. We are back after our intro to continue with the show. But before I proceed to introduce our guest for this evening, I want to say that Today Ghana News will want to add our voice to the sudden demise of our international a footballer in the name of Christian Achu, who unfortunately lost his life in the earthquake in Turkey. That occurred sadly on the 6th of February, and he has since been flown back to Ghana. We want to extend our condolences to his family, his young family, and his loved ones. It is indeed unfortunate that we have lost such a great talent. Today, Ghana News, and for that matter, all of us are sending our condolences to the family of late Christian Achu. Comrades, yes, today we are going to have a very engaging show, and I have a wonderful guest in our midst. And before he is brought on board to discuss a number of issues with us, as I already indicated, Let me introduce him right now. The guest who is going to join us is in the person of Comrade Benjamin Kwashi, who is currently the chairman of the Council of Elders of the NDC South Africa chapter. He is a student at Harvard University. He is an alumnus of the University of Ghana. He was a member of the Johnson Asiedu Nketia for Chairman Committee. He is a member of the Finance Committee of the Volta Caucus in Ghana. Comrade Benjamin Kwashi is a business owner. He is married to a South African and a father to many kids. He is a staunch believer in God and a true comrade. Without much ado, I would like to bring on board Comrade Benjamin Kwashi. Good evening, comrade.
Good evening, my good brother. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Very well.
I want to first of all say that we are very grateful to have you on board. It has been a very short notice, but you have shown that you are committed to answer our call, and we are so grateful to have you. You are most welcome.
Very well. I want to also say a very big thank you. Let me also use the opportunity on behalf of the chairman of the chapter in South Africa, Mr. Mohammed Bukari, and the executive express also our condolences to the family, friends, and the nation at large at the loss of our very good footballer, Christian Attu. It came to us all as a shock. We prayed upon prayers that God should give him back to us alive. Unfortunately, we lost him. We share the pain of the family, and the chapter as a whole shares in sending his condolences to the family and to all Ghanaians at large.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Without much ado, I want us to tackle the main issues that has brought us together this evening. And our viewers are listening very attentively to us. And this platform is dedicated to inform, educate, so that we all will know exactly what is happening to our country back home. I first of all want us to look at the general situation in terms of our economy. It is common knowledge that since the NPP government, the New Patriotic Party, came to power in 2017, they told Ghanaians all kinds of mouth-watering promises. And this is not new to us. And what I want us to look at is how do you see it in terms of the economy of our country? Because we have realized that all indicators in our economy have been showing in the wrong direction. And before we go into the specifics, I just want us to look at, especially from your view, how you really see regarding the economy of our country.
Very well. Once again, thank you for having me. I think the economy hasn't been good. The economy has moved into tatters. It's a simple result of mismanagement of the economy by the Nana Addo Bawumia administration. When Nana Addo and Bawumia took over the reins of the country, we all heard him when he said that he was in a hurry to develop Ghana. He was in a hurry to ensure that Ghana becomes a beacon of hope. You and I also very well heard the then Vice President say there was money in Ghana. It's just about mismanagement of the economy. That is why we are in the dire straits that we were at that time. And so we felt that this crop of leaders were coming to do things differently. Unfortunately, the word incompetent became a mantra in the mouth of all the NPP people then. But sad to say today, if you want to talk about incompetence, you can't call Nana Addo Bawumia administration incompetent. I say they are super incompetent and inept in everything that they do. Why do I say so? In 2016, when President John Mahama was the president of our country, in December of that year, 2016, the public debt, according to the Bank of Ghana, stood at 120 billion Ghana cedi. Now, the debt to GDP ratio also stood at 56%. And then when you go and look at the budget deficit, it was at 6.1. Most of the times, if you hear President Mahama talking, he tells you that it was during that period that the government at that time never borrowed from the central bank. Bank of Ghana never gave the country any money. The president, the administration never went to Bank of Ghana for any support. So if there's a budget deficit of 6.1% without monies from the Bank of Ghana, then you say that this is a government that has done very well. Inflation. The inflation figures as of December 2016 under President John Dramani Mahama was 15.54%, according to the Bank of Ghana figures. Even with this set of figures that I've just enumerated, we were told that they were incompetent. We were told that they didn't know anything. They didn't have the men. NDC was governing with the Team B. And we followed them. When I say we follow them, I'm taking cue from what President Mahama has always said, that at this time we say that we told you so. We need to be patriotic and say that we are all part of the system, so we are all part of the difficulties that we are feeling.
Yes.
In 2023, my brother, under President Akufo-Addo, this February 2023, the public debt stood at 575 billion Ghana cedi. Remember, John Dramani Mahama's own was at 120 billion. Nana Addo's own, after 6 years in government, is 575 billion Ghana cedi. The debt to GDP ratio is at 105%. Remember, the debt to GDP ratio under President Mahama was 56%. Yet they said he was incompetent. Now, under them, the debt to GDP ratio is 105%. Now, look at the budget deficit. Under John Dramani Mahama, it was 6.1. Under them, it's 9.4%. You ask yourself, they borrowed 575 billion Ghana cedi. At least you should think that whatever they are using the money for should inure to the benefit of the Ghanaian people. So you expect a budget deficit that should be lower or lesser than what the NDC administration have. It's not the case. Yes. Inflation. The Bank of Ghana tells us that inflation stands at 54.1% as at this February. Now, if you compare these two figures, you realize that the NDC has been better managers of the economy, akin to what we heard the MPP saying at that time. Because at that time, talk was cheap. At that time, you could hear Bawumia say that we have the men. You mentioned Akoto, Dr. Free, Senior Minister of Safo Mafo, John Alan Tremantin. And so the feel was that the lectures he was having at that time made Ghanaians think that he was coming to do anything extraordinary.
Yes, let me come. You made a very interesting mention, Dr. Bawumia. We all know that before the 2016 general elections, he was moving from university to university to present his economic lectures. And in one of them, he made a very interesting comment, but which I want you to focus on. He says that, when the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rates will expose you. And this is a very fundamental statement he has made during NDC's era. And since they came into power in 2017, I think the fundamentals have actually exposed the MPP, including Dr. Bawumia. And I just want to say this, that in terms of the cedi stability, it has been announced that it has lost stability in the sense that $1 now equals 12 euros, 12 cedis, 90 cents. And that is from January to February this time. And what that means is that the cedi has actually depreciated from January to February against the dollar, which is about 25%. So if you look at it, the fundamentals which Dr. Bawumia really talked about, it cannot hold. It cannot really hold. So you realize that the cedi is actually losing stability. So if you juxtapose what Dr. Bawumia said, that when the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. How do you adjust? How do you juxtapose what he said and what is happening now in terms of cedi stability?
I can only say that Bawumia engaged in an amorphous exercise. Bawumia, what he engaged in is what I'll call the textbook theories of economics. Bawumia, he's one individual that I say always that has lost credibility in terms of anything. This profound statement he made indicating that if the economy is not good, the fundamentals are not good, the exchange rate will expose you. I believe that I think last year there was a program he had when MPP gurus were there, and then he said that yes, he said that, but the circumstances can vary. This is a dishonest person. I say that Bawumia is the most dishonest politician that Ghana has ever noticed. Look, I have here a statement that Bawumia tweeted on March 24, 2015. And with your permission, I'll ask you to let me read quickly what he said. He said, the IMF bailout was totally avoidable if the government had listened to sound advice from many quarters much earlier. But governments refused to listen. They believe in their own propaganda and said, yeah, Ethiopia. To it, we won't listen to anybody. When government was cautioned about the scale of borrowing, the government responded that they would borrow more. Now that their propaganda has been exposed by economic reality, they are now forced to listen to the IMF. We have moved from Ye Ethiopia to Yebetie IMF and Kwa. To wait, we would only listen to the IMF. Dr. Bawumia, will the anchor hold? This is a speech he delivered at his so-called Distinguished Speakers Forum, the ones that he was having at that time. Doc, if you look at what Dr. Bawumia said at that time, and you look at what President Mahama had always cautioned us until we got into this economic doldrum, you realize that the NPP did nothing than to come to power, create, loot, and share. There's nothing more we can say because President Mahama had always called for a national dialogue like the Senchi dialogue that he had during his time when the economy was in crisis. But are you surprised that Bawumia is shifting goalposts? No, you can't be surprised because this is somebody that his president had promised us that he was coming to fight corruption with the ANAS principle. When he came to power, ANAS has not been free to do anything. Investigative journalists like Manasseh Azuri Awuni cannot do their work because the president has made the system so difficult for you even to criticize. Our current minority leader in parliament, the Honorable Atufosin, had always raised this concern and said, look, we are borrowing ourselves to a point that we will deplete all our domestic and foreign reserves. Did they listen? They never listened. They said at the men. They continued borrowing. And you see, it's not wrong to borrow. The point is that every economist will tell you that you borrow to do projects and initiatives that would adhere to the benefits of the Ghanaian people. So you expect that they were borrowing that much, $575 billion US. What is there to show for all the borrowing that they borrowed? It's a question that I've always said that we need to ask ourselves and say, President Mahama has done certain projects. I ask my MPP friends when I'm on panelist discussions with them, and I say, just name one single hospital you started and completed under the 6 years administration of yours. They can't mention anyone.
Exactly. Comrade, that is exactly the point I wanted to address your mind to, which you are addressing. Because if you look at the rise of our public debts from 2016 and when NDC was in power till now, you realize that within this very short time of 6 years, so much public debt has been added to the total debts. the question is always, what is this? What is it that this government has used so much money that they have borrowed for? Because I think we should stress this point. What is it that this government has used this money for? Because we cannot really see what this government has done. How many hospitals have they built from the borrowed monies that they have gotten? And when you talk about the economic challenges of our country, they will always attribute that to Ukraine-Russian war, and coupled with the almighty COVID-19 pandemic. But these reasons are no more tenable, because it is not only Ghana that has been impacted by COVID-19 or Russian-Ukraine war. So I want us to stress this point. This government has borrowed so much within the past 6 years. And what is it that they have used this money for? Because it is obvious we have not seen what they have done with this money. So in your opinion, what do you think that we should look at in terms of the monies that have been borrowed so far by this government?
Doc, you see the issue about the Russian-Ukraine war, the issue about COVID-19, it's not tenable at this time. If you've read the Auditor General's report, the Auditor General's report clearly has indicated that we made a lot of money out of COVID, but government dissipated those funds to their friends, cronies, and people made windfall out of a situation like COVID. Why do I say so? In the Auditor General's report, the penchant of government is to spend monies on things that you would ask yourself, are we in a crisis? Did this government realize that we were in a crisis when those funds that came in for COVID support were dissipated? Look, there is something in the Auditor General's report that they call that the President's Operational Enhancement Expenditure. Doc, I don't know, maybe you would explain this. In the Auditor General's report, there's something called the President's Operational Enhancement Expenditure. And this aspect of government alone took 59.4 million Ghana cedi from the monies that they got for COVID. From the monies that they got from COVID, they went to create what they call the Office of Government Machinery. In this Office of Government Machinery, you have people like directors for church affairs, directors for National Cathedral, and all these people were paid. In this monies that came for COVID, the monies that they used for the National Cathedral, remember, we said we have to prioritize our expenses, because at that time we were in crisis. They didn't listen to anybody. Why? Because they knew that there were monies that had come in that they were dissipating to their own interest. So now, ever since the Auditor General report came, you'll see that the media landscape has changed. Our brothers in the MPP never want to talk about COVID again, because the Auditor General report has exposed them. So that is not an excuse. Obviously, that is not an excuse they can give.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for your wonderful submissions. At this juncture, I want to say that all of you who are watching us this evening, we want to let you know that you can send all your comments to us per the link that is shown, so that we'll be able to read your messages. We'll be able to tap into what you are thinking about. But before we transition from the general economy of Ghana into what is actually happening now, which is the domestic debt exchange program, which has been so poorly implemented, and even pensioners do have to more or less picket at the finance ministry before anything could be looked at. So if you have any comments which you want us to take notice of, please send your messages to us, and we'll be able to communicate that to all our viewers. But comrades, I really do appreciate your submissions. But one question before we take a commercial break, and we'll come back and read some few messages from those who are watching us, is about the EMT, which is the Economic Management Team. You know, what you have actually demonstrated to us is about a country which is now in the hands of people who told everybody in 2016 that they had the magic touch. They are the managers of the economy, as they usually say. They have the men and, of course, the women. But what we have realized is not the case. So my question to you before we actually go for commercial break is, the economic management team, which has been headed by the vice president in the person of Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, what is the function? What is the responsibility or the responsibilities of the economic management team headed by the vice president of the country? Because the indicators of the economy, as we've just talked about within this short time, and what we have known, is nothing to write home about. So what is it that the economic management team has been doing for all these years? And on top of that, the chairman of IMT is lacing his boots to contest the presidential candidacy in his party, the MPP, in order to contest in 2024. So I'm really wondering what their functions are. And in particular, the vice president, who is the chairman of this EMT. It appears they may be sleeping on their job, or what do you think?
Doc, just yesterday, Gideon Ba, who is an executive assistant to His Excellency Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia, was on national TV saying that Bawumia, our vice president, wasn't the head of the economic management team. The economic management team was headed by the Honorable Alan Chairman.
Oh my goodness.
And he's contesting to be a flag bearer of the party. And it simply meant this. And then after he said that, there are other people that have come in to say that, no, Bawumia chaired economic management team meetings here and there. But the truth of the matter is that the economic management team is made up of all sectors of the economy that are supposed to help in realizing the economic goals of the country. So you have ministries like the Ministries of Finance, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of all the other ministries that will do things that will benefit the Ghanaian economically. Now, out of those people that were members of the economic management team under Bawumia, we've had Alan Kojo Tremantin resigning. We have Dr. Efriye resigning. All of them resigning for one reason, that they want to lead the MPP. My question is, these were members of the economic management team.
Yes.
These were people that they attested, they told us that they had the men. These men have superintended over a country that the finance minister said they were never going to go to IMF, irrespective of what happened. Today we are with the IMF.
Yeah.
This economic management team had told us that the vice president at that time told us at a meeting with the top military and police officials that he has arrested the dollar and given the key to the budget. You see, governance is a very serious business. Unfortunately, Ghanaians allowed ourselves to be fooled by the MPP administration. And this is what we are all paying for as we speak now. Currently, we are paying for it because, look, Bawumia gave questions to the late Vice President Patrice Atta to answer. Those same questions today, he cannot even answer them himself. The economic management team is the reason why we are here today. The economic management team, with its policies, initiatives, and programs, have landed us into a ditch that Ghana will take several years to come out of. But these are people that said that they had the men. Which men? No wonder on the secret tape that was recorded of the Honorable Akoto say, he indicated that which men they say they have. There are no men here. They have nobody. Look, you take a minister like Alan Kojo Tremantin resigning from the Ministry of Trade and Industry. and then you bring Honorable Katie Hammond into that ministry. We're not joking as a country. What I continue to ask myself, we're talking about the administration having an overbloated government. Some ministers have resigned. There are deputies that could be allowed to take over. They were not allowed. You bring in Stephen Amwa and Katie Hammond to head a trade and industry ministry. It's very key to economic survival of a country.
Comrade, thank you very much. I think we'll get to the ministerial reshuffle, or the so-called reshuffle of ministers, and who just started their vetting this Monday. I want to say that let us take a commercial break, and when we come back, we are going to touch on the DDEP, which is the Domestic Debt Exchange Program, and then we will gradually then move into this point should not be forgotten. You just touched on it, the ministerial reshuffle, which is indeed not reshuffle. So we'll come back to it, and then we then proceed to the next steps. So I will urge that we take a commercial a break right now, and when we come back, we are going to interact with our viewers and take some messages.
Drama, Papa and Amber, she let her contaminate free bank. And then I form for an eye. For an hour for all your baby, cause, call. Papa Vanilla Tata, near Bogan was the Lapa Echo. Minister Nobanya bad this step me, Neke. Nanya Gia.
Comrades, welcome back. Yes, we are looking at the economy of Ghana, and for that matter, things that affect the common persons in Ghana. And as those of us in the diaspora, it is our responsibility to ensure that we share our ideas and our opinions so that the governments of the day will do things that will inure to the benefits of all Ghanaians. So I want us, comrades, guests, to come on board. We want to now talk about the Domestic Debt Exchange program that started way back in February, and this government is trying all that it can to make sure that Ghanaians, whether they like it or not, it is just like voluntary by force. Because in this case, voluntary by force under normal circumstances should not be the case. When it's voluntary, either you accept it or you don't. But when it comes to the Domestic Debt Exchange Program, if you notice, we have talked about the wrong direction that this government has taken the country to. And after all the borrowing and all the mismanagement of the economy, the debt has ballooned. And now there's the need to restructure because the external bond market has been closed to the government. Even internally, it has been difficult to actually lend money to government. So as it is now, there's no way apart from this Domestic Debt Exchange Program. I want to ask my guest what he thinks about this debt domestic exchange program. In my opinion, I do believe that it has been poorly managed, poorly managed, whereby even pensioners who have used their retirement benefits to invest so that they'll be able to depend on their coupons, maybe the interest, not only the principal, but on the interest to be able to manage their expenses and all that. Comrade Kwashi, I just want you to touch on this debt domestic exchange program. It appears the government is simply saying that I don't really care what happens. All I want is to restructure your debts. I will take your debts and then make sure that I pay you in 10 years' time. So as it is now, what do you think about this domestic debt exchange program?
Well, it's very unfortunate that we find ourselves in this situation where we have failed both on paying our internal and our external debts, our bonds that we've taken for those billions of CDs that the MPP administration has taken. Now, you see, the funny thing is that this government sold bonds just after COVID. They sold bonds in the name of COVID, and the Auditor General's report has indicated to us that they misapplied those funds that they got out of the bonds they floated for the COVID issue. Now, then this administration comes back to us in the name of domestic debt exchange program and said, look, we cannot pay coupons and that we should sign up. What do they take us for as Ghanaians? Look, you've had all the monies, you've misapplied. Now you come to us that we should take coupons because you cannot pay those ones. And it's like, you see, I have continually asked this question that is the inclusion of pensioners and individual bondholders in this domestic exchange program the only way that we can solve this problem? No. But the arrogance of this administration, the sheer I don't care behavior of this administration has led us to where we are, where we have the former Chief Justice going to participate in sit-down demonstrations to say, look, we are senior citizens of the country. I think it's Mahatma Gandhi who said that you determine the respect and the well wishes of the country by how they treat their elderly citizens. And this is how we have treated our elderly citizens. This is how we have brought them to the extent that they have to go through things. Look, some years back, nobody was interested in buying bonds. Nobody wanted to do anything government until successive governments from J.J. Rawlins's time, President John Ajay Kufuor, these people reintroduced President Fifi Evans Atamils and co. They reintroduced the belief in the Ghanaian bond system. But you see what this MPP administration has just done? They have just collapsed the domestic bondholders and bond believers in knowing that they don't need to continue to invest in these bonds. They don't care. No, they just don't. You can see from their opulence, the way they speak. You heard of the Honorable Finance Minister telling them that, what are they picketing for? You heard Gadia Sariochidaku descending on the former Chief Justice and saying that, is that the best way that it could go? And funny enough, they targeted 135 billion in this domestic debt exchange program. They realized 80 billion. And that is, to them, you targeted 135 billion. You realize only 80 billion. And then you come to us in Parliament and you tell us that you have realized 85% success rate.
Comrade, it's very difficult to really understand. But one point I want you to react to is that, the government, it is very clear that all Ghanaians want to see the government trying to push this domestic debt exchange program on Ghanaians. And the fact is, what is it that government is ready to burden share? It is more or less like the government saying, okay, buame, nami buao. What that means is that help me and I help you. But the whole thing is, starting from where we started this evening, the government has actually driven everybody into a very deep hole. And now we have this huge debts. And we are saying that Ghanaians should help you so that you also help. In what way is government actually helping? And this is one a claim that the MPP side, the governing party side, has been saying. They said they have burden shared. And I just want to pick your opinion on that. Because Ghanaians are saying that, if you are saying that every person should burden share so that you'll be able to restructure the debt, what is it that the central government is doing? So, and they have been saying that, especially the spokesperson for the governance and security, he says that the MMDE's expenditure has been cut by 30%, Salaries of ministers and CEOs of state-owned enterprises have been reduced by 20%. Per diems during meetings have been cut by 50%. Fuels for government appointees, 50%. Traveling and all that have been reduced significantly. Fuel coupons have been reduced. No purchase of new vehicles. No establishment of new offices. Salaries of public workers have been increased. In your opinion, is it these measures that government has claimed to put in place, are they not enough to show that government has actually burden shared in terms of the domestic debt exchange program?
I think, Doc, this government has always shown bad faith. So you see that a lot of people don't believe them when they say that they've taken some cuts here and there, that they are sharing the burden, and that we should all come on board as citizens and not spectators. Look, what have they sacrificed at this particular point in our country's history economically that we can all say, oh, they've done something, let's also help in doing ABC. If this government was sensitive to the plight of the ordinary Ghanaian citizen, when you have ministers resigning, when you have a country that is spending so much on ministers, and fortunately others have resigned to go take up presidential ambitions, you wouldn't appoint new ministers. It's a way of saving the public purse. You would keep deputy ministers and the technocrats in the ministries to be able to run the ministry. Because remember, the ministers that are the ministries, they don't run the ministries. The ministries are run by the technocrats and the bureaucrats we have there. But this government that has gone to IMF for a bailout is able to reappoint ministers to go through vetting, to be paid by the taxpayer again, to occupy positions that maybe if they had saved those positions, Ghana would have made a bit of money. Secondly, we are told that they said they've cut down on their PDM, they've cut a special account. When President Mahama decided that his ministers and appointees should cut down on expenses and their salaries per cut, there was a contingency fund that those monies were able to be seen there. Manasseh Azari Awuni wrote to the commission and asked them that, can you tell us how much you put aside? Till today, nobody knows how much it's put aside. It is the president saying that we've put money aside. There is nothing for us to go to and say, per this record, ABCD has been put aside, so let's all come on board and help. What they have done is that they pushed us into the ditch, and still they are pushing us in there, ensuring that their pockets are filled and the ordinary Ghanaian continues to suffer.
Okay.
There's no burden.
Yeah.
All they are telling Ghanaians should take the burden and carry it on their head because we voted for them, we gave them the opportunity, and that we should suffer more. But hope is on this way.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Comrade Benjamin, for your wonderful submission. I just wanted to take a very short break, and when we come back, we'll take messages, and that will come from my co-hosts in the person of Comrade Alfred. Let us just take a very short commercial break right now.
Yo Palanche, Tete. Drama, Papa and I'm Beshi, Lata Contamini Free Bank. And then a former for an eye. For an hour for own me, cause call. Papa Lata, near Boga was the Lapa Echo. Minister Nobanya bad this step me, Neke. Nanya Gia.
Yeah, viewers, this is my show NDC Hour on Today Ghana News TV. Let's read some messages and comments that have come in so that we can go back to my co-host and our guest. This is from Tom. He said, good evening, comrades. Watching you live from Bielefeld. This is Nanata Fremo. Greetings from Tatali Northern Region and Sakina Information Center. Shout out to all Sakina Information Center staff and listeners in Tatali. This Omega TV Ghana. He says, good evening. Watching you live from Kumasi, Ghana. Keep it up. Good. Keep it up. The good work. Bro, Alfred. More fire. This is from Novici Talks. So watching you from Stuttgart, Germany chapter. NDC have the men. Of course, we have the men. This is from Charles Manson. Good evening. I'm watching the program live from Hamburg. And this is Novici Talks again. I said, NDC is proud of you, comrades. Thank you. And watching from South Africa, NDC all the way, His Excellency, Mr. Benjamin Kwashi. God bless you. God bless your great works. This is from Martin Gitachori, if I get the name right. And this is from Michael. Said, Michael, watching you from Kumasi, the Osekro. Leila Mahama is here. He said, good evening, watching you live from Germany, Bielefeld precisely. This is from Tom, a fantastic team of able hosts, Comrade Na and Kuyoli. Thank you, Comrade. AK is here. He said, fantastic submissions from your guests, watching you live from Germany. And James O. Apia writes, His Excellency, BKQ, may God continue to bless you with your contribution to NDC South Africa, James JHB branch organizer. That's Johannesburg, if I get it right. Okay, Jasper Kujo Adama writes, say, kudos, Comrade Alfred Kuyoli and Comrade Dr. Na. Hashtag NPP never again. That's it from Dr. Jasper Kujo once again. Good argument at Benjamin Kwashi. And this is from Bulute Michael. Bulute Michael watching from College of Health, Yamfo region, Ghana. Bunahafo region, Ghana. Or that name, Ahafo region, sorry. Keep up the good works, comrades. More fire. Then Dr. Baumia did only chew and pour. He has lost all credibility. That's from AK. And then this is from Sendiswa Otu. His Excellency speaks with facts. He's propagating NDCSA stance on the issues of Ghana's economy. This is from Jasper Kujo, hashtag create, loot, and share. Fact is, this is from Donaldo Moore, thumbs up. You are here in for BKQ. Thumbs up for BKQ. This is from Taililo Sadali. Thumbs up. Thank you, comrade. This is from Donald once again. Keep the fire burning. And then Flozy Love. BKQ speaks well. As a great leader he is. Keep the fire burning. This is from Comrade Tom. He said, Comrade Kwashi, if the MPP had used only Bank of Ghana's printed extra money to pay the contractors, NSS staff, etc., we will be in the same situation, but at least cleared some of our domestic debts. Then Martin Gitchachori is here. He said, listening to His Excellency's submissions, you can tell his vast knowledge on current politics and nonsense leadership of Baumia and Nana Addo, JM 2024 president. Lucy Bobison Opoku, NDC, Wumba, hashtag 2024, hashtag BKQ. James O. Apia said, wash hands, wash hands. That's stoppers. This is from Delali Garments, Retail and Services. Delali Garments and Retail and Services. NDC SA is on the map. Thanks to BKQ. Kudos to all NDC SA comrades. Then Bukari Muhammad, nail it. His Excellency BKQ, let them know it's time the stray elephant be sent back to the forest where there is no law and order. Then this is from Sindiswa Otu. So His Excellency is always spot on, hits the nail right on the head. Hashtag BKQ. Now, Michael, 2024 NDC all the way. These are some of the messages that have come in. You can bring your comments, messages, and your thoughts as and when we move along. And this is my show NDC Hour on Today Ghana News TV. I'm here with my co-host, Dr. John Baptist Na, with our fantastic able guests from NDC South Africa, Comrade Benjamin Kwashi. I hand over to you, my able co-host, to take over the baton.
Yeah, thank you very much, Comrade Alfred, for the messages read, and we want to thank everybody for participating in this show. We are almost getting to the close of this show, but we have some few issues to discuss. It is about the ministerial vetting that is taking place. If I may have the guests on, I want to pick his opinion on the appointments that have been made by the presidents. Actually, it is not a reshuffle. It is just filling in of vacant positions like the Ministry of Trade and Industry and Ministry of Food and Agric, because they have left their positions. So I just want to pick your opinion on that, and we'll conclude with the NDC's presidential and parliamentary primaries. And if we have time, we can take extra messages. Otherwise, we'll have to draw the curtains. So regarding the ministerial so-called reshuffle, you touched a little bit on it, but I just want you to say a little bit on what it is that this reshuffle has to do with this DDEP that we are struggling with and all the economic problems that we are dealing with. So your opinion on the ongoing, more or less, ministers who have been nominated by the president to be vetted by the appointment committee of parliaments, which started on Monday. What do you say about the caliber of those who have been appointed to fill those positions, Comrade?
We need to set the record straight and indicate that there has not been any reshuffle. The president has not got the political willpower to do a reshuffle. The president is not on top of issues. The president has told us all Ghanaians that he doesn't care. His own party members of parliament sent a petition to him that they don't want the finance minister. The whole of Ghana has spoken about the finance minister who has taken us into the ditch that we are. Today, he says that he's going to help us out. How is he going to help us out in the first place when he is the reason why we are in the ditch? Now, I think I was the first person who said on Pulse, on My Joy TV, that look, what the president has done is to reward Katie Hammond for the way he presided over the censorship motion hearing against the finance minister. We all saw how he heckled members of the NDC. We all saw how he defended the finance minister to the extent that when it got to the time for them to vote in parliament, the MPP, as usual, chickened out, and it was left with the NDC. Funny what the Honorable Martin, what's his name, my deputy majority leader. What's his name?
Deputy majority leader Afenyo Marcus. Yes, Afenyo Marcus.
Afenyo Marcus says that our party directive to the caucus that they should not approve any of these ministers.
Yes.
He says the NDC is showing bad faith. Now, just weeks back, when the censorship motion had happened and there was supposed to be a vote on in the floor of the House in Parliament, the MPP General Secretary Kodwa wrote to the majority group and said, do not be part of it. So in that case, when the motion was called, the MPP walked out. That to him is not a dent on our democracy, but a directive by the party that our minority caucus should also ensure that we are not doing that for political vindication. What we are saying is that it's not necessary you put in more ministers there. And again, we are asking, what does K.T. Hammond and Stephen Amwa bring to that ministry, so much so that we have to waste our time and our resources to making them ministers and deputy ministers? It doesn't make sense. But of course, we know that the president has not got the willpower to reshuffle the government. Even in opposition, we've reshuffled our minority front in Parliament for a week, for 2 weeks. That became topical. The bread and butter issues that we were supposed to discuss, we truncated them. And we were talking about the NDC leadership in Parliament. That doesn't bring any solution to the economic doldrums that we find ourselves in. But of course, like I said, the president cannot reshuffle anybody of his administration because he has not got the power and the will to do that. That's not reshuffling.
Okay. Yeah, Comrade, thank you very much for your opinion on the appointments, ministerial appointments that have been submitted to Parliament to be vetted so that they will be approved and all that. But I do believe that I share to a very large extent your views expressed, that in a situation where Ghana is struggling to meet its debt obligations, it is important that the government should find a way to cut down costs, not really increasing. We have realized that, as you actually indicated, there is no real reshuffle, because Minister of State, in the person of Obi Amwa, has even been added to the number of ministers that have been appointed by this government. So because we do not really have time, I just want to take your final opinion on the NDC's plan to come up with their presidential, not only that, and also presidential candidates for 2024, but also parliamentary candidates who will be contesting for their various MPships in the various constituencies. I want you to add your voice or to react to how, as members of the NDC, should be able to handle the primaries, the presidential primaries, as well as the parliamentary primaries, so that at the end of the day, NDC will come out as a party to be a very formidable force to be able to contest the 2024 elections. So we are almost out of time, but in your opinion, what do you think that NDC as a party should be able to handle their presidential as well as their parliamentary primaries to be able to come out in a very formidable manner to be able to contest the 2024 elections?
I think we need to see this internal contest as a family contest. NDC is a democratic party, like I've always maintained. People will be allowed to contest whoever they want to contest. At the end of the day, we all have to rally behind whoever we elect as our flag bearer, and whoever we also elect in the various constituencies of members of parliament. But again, I always want to indicate that it is always good to protect certain seats that the NDC has in parliament. Certain seats like the one in Ayensuano constituency, where the Honorable Teddy Safori Adi won that seat after 20 years for the NDC party. Now, you look at such a seat and you say he won by a margin of about 250 votes. There's no need to have a contest in such constituencies, but rather we need to gather our resources and ensure that he's able, because in that constituency in the Eastern region, that's the only seat the NDC as a party has in the Eastern region. So why would we want to go in for an internal contest and say that the current member of parliament should have people who contest against him? I think the party will come up with the guidelines and all of that after nominations are closed. And again, I believe that we should all know that Ghanaians will not forgive us. Ghanaians will never forgive us if we don't keep our house in order and ensure that we win the election in 2024 and take out this corrupt, inept, and most incompetent MPP administration, we will not be forgiven. This contest should be one that will forge ahead as a family, all of us united with one common purpose of ensuring that President John Dramani Mahama, we have all called him the presumptive leader. He comes back, and that's what we know best, saving the Ghanaian people and ensuring that we move to prosperity, not for few, not for selected, but prosperity for the whole of Ghana.
Thank you very much, my guests. And I strongly believe that we have been informed, we have been educated, we have been updated on what is actually happening back home. Many people will realize that, especially those of us in the diaspora, that we are made of various parts. One part is that we are ourselves, especially when we're in the diaspora, but we also have other parts back home, which is where we have come from. As I started with the introduction, our guest speaker in the person of Benjamin Kwashi is in the South African NDC chapter, and I'm in the Germany NDC chapter. And what we are saying is that we cannot lose sight of the fact that our country is where we have to look up to. And so I strongly believe that each and every one of us who watch us has learned one or two things, has been educated with respect to how our country has been brought up to. And as it is now, we do not really have enough time. And those who might have sent their messages a little bit late, we are really sorry to say that we will not be able to read them anymore. But we strongly believe that next time we are going to do so. I would like to take this opportunity to actually thank all viewers who had took time to watch us, more or less creating time to be able to be part of this show. I really thank you so much. And Modern Ghana studio has been able to is very appreciative of the fact that we have been able to be part of this. And I want to thank everybody for taking part. And I'll particularly thank our guests in the person of Comrade Benjamin Kwashi, who on a very short notice has been able to avail himself to be interviewed by us, and he has delivered. It is up to us, and it is also the fact that let us join our hands together so that at the end of the day, we'll be able to project our country the manner in which we want to see it governed. So at this moment, I'm really sorry we will not be able to take any more messages. And so it is obvious that we will draw curtains to this show. And we strongly believe that next time we are going to ensure that we'll bring up exciting, intriguing topics to be able to engage ourselves, and we'll discuss on issues that confront Ghana, not only Ghana, but indeed the African continent. I would like to thank everybody for coming on board, and we thank you. And I want to take this singular opportunity to thank our guests, who on a very short notice was able to respond to us, and we're very much grateful. And we thank everybody for making time to watch us. And for now, let me say that we thank you so much. And next time, we are going to deliver as we expect. And I thank you, and I wish you a very pleasant night. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. Viewers, we thank you for making time to watch us. We are MyShow NDC Hour, and the bravo potoka semo. Radia Domo, a baby model say, a bread day and mono so a bebremo a cancasa, Musadabaya, Yenma, Dimian Moa, a cancasa, so easy moments with me. ate the ye can say it ruby be a was say a dane ni so who said it hey intina and the corporate your potoka cra at the mamo we my show NDC Hour today Ghana News TV at the bremo there be a live Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So I say uti your podcast so benya or Anchor FM and omo water tally so 80 e Shakina Information Center. And ne bibinti Facebook live no antima anya adwuma. Ye shamo bo say engineers no ego so ye ho adwuma den next week. Ye mara no na the Facebook live no so tweetia. Na afi ye bibia koso. Keep safe and stay safe. God bless you. See you next week. Bye.